let's begin part 2 of the Stage 5 URL events. And if you look closely beyond the world map, you will be able to notice that I am no longer in the Mustang. And the reason for that is, well, because I want to give the other car I got for Stage 5, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8, a bit more airtime. And also because, well, I also want to do the last race using my 5th car. And that's precisely what this is. Statistically, when acquired from stock, the Evo 8 basically is the best stock car in the game. So, 5 URL events are down. I reckon the Mustang has basically served its time well, and it has also given me maximum rep in all 5 of the URL events I did with it, because they were all points events. And now, we are going to get on with the second half, beginning with our message from Greg. URL racing is the bomb. Only the best get invited to race these tracks, and still is king. There aren't going to be any lucky wins, because someone gets accidentally clipped by Grandma's station wagon. Greg, I can assure you, none of my wins in this game up to this point have been accidental. They've been hard fought. And if you don't think that, then, well, go fuck yourself.
No hard feelings, right?
Nikki's in our corner now.
Caleb's telling everyone you'll never race again once he's in control. He's crazy. You better watch your back. I'll do what I can, but it's up to you now.
What good are any of you? Not one of you could take that guy out? Not one? What do you think is gonna happen if he keeps winning? You can say goodbye to all this, your precious sponsors, all the C notes falling into your hands, all of it!
Fine, we'll take care of it. He ain't gonna walk away from it this time.
You just make sure he goes down, or ain't none of you gonna walk away from this.
So basically, Caleb, as we now know, is more or less the cartoon definition of a lunatic. And I'm pretty sure if anyone was going to come up with an alignment chart for Need for Speed characters, I think I know precisely where Caleb would line up. And if you're asking me, I think it would be in the evil section of the alignment chart. Alright. Time for part 2 of the Stage 5 URLs. This time using my Evo 8. And I'm pretty sure I made a good choice as well, because this car has got excellent acceleration and handling. And that's more or less the only thing oh, fuck me. And that's more or less the only thing I really need for this thing. I should also mention the group of guys that Caleb technically runs. Well, ultimately, the name of that group is called the Wraiths. In other words, the Wraiths are basically Caleb's gang. The guys who we are more or less taking down and kicking the asses of before we go up against Caleb himself. And I know that's a spoiler alert, but we will be taking down Caleb once we are done with all the URL events. I will also be using the Evo 8 for the last race, if you're asking, because, as I said before, I want to make sure I'm showing an equal amount of love to all of my cars. But since I bumped this up to the medium difficulty again, this has been a lot of fun. It's not been too easy, it's also not been too hard. I've actually been enjoying myself. And I've also been making sure to put in the acceleration as well as the speed required to, more or less, kick the AI's asses. I'd say this is a good compromise, in all honesty. Although it still kind of sucks to say that I literally had to go down to the easy difficulty just so I could get the Grady sponsorship. Anyways, I win. But again, it was the only way for me to do it, so I didn't really have a choice. Anyway, so beating Greg to the line, who also drove an Evo 8. Julie was 3rd, David 4th, Spencer 5th in the 3rd Evo 8, and it was Scott who came home last in the Lexus IS 300. Looks like it's going to be yet another 3-race tournament, and what that also means is I'm probably going to win all 3 of them, and I will most likely walk away with yet another clean sweep. And boosting my way up into the lead immediately, because I'm on the front row, and... oh, okay. I think that was Greg. But either way, whatever maneuver he was trying to pull off, it was not going to work. I emerged on top, and now I have an advantage, as I can see a plane landing just above me. I knew that was going to fail. There was no question in saying that was a power slide that was practically doomed to fail right from the start. Anyways, 1 lap down, and still 2 to go. I don't think there's going to be any single race events in the Stage 5 URLs, because I've encountered no 5-lap races yet. And again, another power slide that was practically doomed to fail. But at least I was trying to keep it together that time. Well, the AI are keeping up with me. That's one thing I can say for sure. But they aren't passing me. And well, at this stage, I think that's the only thing I really need to worry about. Because I have nitrous, and I can use that to full effect. Yes, I'm doing less than 190 heading into the corner. Hey, it actually worked. I actually got a power slide to work that time. 2 in fact. So Julie is up to 2nd, Greg is 3rd, and David is 4th. And across the line, 2 races down, and we still have 1 to go. These are the race results, Julie second, and Greg was third, and then we had Scott ahead of David and Spencer. So we have a tie for second, and the bottom three, they're very much in a row in terms of the positions they currently stand in. But anyway, final race of the first Stage 5 URL event in Part 2. Oh, fuck me. Yep, okay, I am getting run into. Anyway. Fuck. Okay. I really thought for sure I was gonna make it a double whammy there, but I'm so glad to say that wasn't the case. As I can see a Boeing 747, I think that is, landing on the runway. And at the moment it looks like I'm doing pretty much everything this car was designed to do, more or less. And fuck. Okay. Well, at least it's better than going on that Gymkhana style course, which in all honesty I personally hate because of how tight the 3 chicanes are. But either way, because we're points racing, it doesn't really matter because I'm still out in front. And I can certainly say bumping up the difficulty from easy to medium has definitely made the rubber banding stronger. Even though the AI haven't officially managed to catch me yet. I think there's only been one race so far where I've actually struggled. But even then, it was pretty much a quick fix once I eventually got through that awkward set of chicanes, and as a result I eventually managed to win out once I got the adequate execution. Alright. We are still in front, and it looks like it's going to be yet another clean sweep. But yeah, as Rachel said before, Nikki is now on our side. And basically, she'll be rooting for us when we eventually take down Caleb. And through the final corner, and there we go. Victory to the Evo 8. Over Greg and Julie. And there's the rest of your race results. 8 seconds from 1st to 6th. And we had a tie for 5th between Scott and Spencer. Scott, however, gets the tiebreaker. So, Greg was 2nd, Julie 3rd, David 4th, Scott gets the tiebreaker for 5th, and Spencer, in the 3rd Evo 8, comes home 6th. Not bad. Yeah. Now we just have 3 URL events to go. It really wouldn't surprise me if the remaining ones turned out to be points events. Well, tournament events, if you want to be more specific. I'll just head over here, because why not? And this one's from Wayne. Only the best racers on the streets get invited here, so I have to say I'm impressed. No traffic and no distractions. Just you and 5 other guys who want to leave you in the dust. Every time you win, you build a little more cred in the scene. Thanks, Wayne. I might actually consider giving you a few quarters for this. Because I think you've complimented me. So we have a Celica, a 106, an Audi TT, a Corolla, and a 206. And Wayne is starting on the front row. He must be the one in the Audi, as already I moved to the outside, and there was nothing I could do to avoid the contact that was inevitably going to emerge. And I now clear Wayne's Audi TT. Darren is currently 3rd, Logitech is running 4th. Yeah, you've really got to navigate it so finely through that hairpin before you head through that crossover section. There are some corners you have to navigate so finely that you've literally got to be almost flawless on both the entry and the exit when you head through there. And right now, I'd say we're doing pretty good. And now I just have to continue driving. And hopefully, if I don't have any trouble, it should only be a matter of time before I take down Caleb. Again, as I said before, the game difficulty I've now increased to medium, and that's why the rubber banding is a lot closer than it has been before up to this point. Because I am making this look like it's a bit more of a challenge compared to what it has been up to this point, because it's been pretty easy. But either way, it hasn't stopped me from winning. It's just to make the racing look more interesting, because I do this for entertainment purposes. So Chuck came home 2nd, Darren 3rd, Logitech 4th, John 5th, and Wayne, who led early on, finished 6th. He must have really fallen back, or someone must have wrecked him. That's probably the only logical excuse I can think of. Anyway, moving on. 1 race down, 2 races to go. I might also consider saving the game once I'm done with the next event. So, same starting grid as before. It basically winds up being that way in practically every URL race, more or less. And yep, everyone is wrecking. Anyways, I now move up into second. I'm right behind the 106. Really trying my hardest to not make any contact with him. And up the inside I go. And just like that, I am now out in the lead. In my white Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 8. Well, mostly white and red. Because I think about the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo from the 90s, where the colours basically were white and red most of the time. At least that was before they decided to change the overcoat to it basically just being red. I also think there was one year where Mitsubishi was sponsored by Winfield, which I think is an Australian cigarettes brand. I also know they were a sponsor for the Williams F1 team one time. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you who their first sponsor was, aside from Rally Art, but I think Mitsubishi did have another sponsor before they had Winfield. It was probably Marlboro, but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, cigarette brands were still considered worth sponsoring during this time. And I don't think it was until 2005 when most countries had actually stopped tobacco sponsorships. Although it was about this time, of course, when the rest of the world were starting to stop the cigarette sponsorships. Anyways, I win. I just know that Winfield was one of the sponsors Mitsubishi had before they were sponsored by Marlboro. So, 6.3 seconds over Chuck, Logitech 3rd, John 4th, Darren 5th, and Wayne was 6th. 2 races down and 1 race to go. And no tiebreakers this time, so I think we're pretty much gonna be even Stevens, as far as I know. In other words, I don't think our positions are going to change anyway. And now we just have 1 race to go in URL event number 7, and oh fuck me. And already I am off to an abysmal start. Hopefully, however, I can fight back. Things are not going very well at the moment. And Wayne has once again fallen back. Okay, well, at least I've gained 1 position. So hopefully this will be where I can start to climb up the mountain again. At least we're going in the other direction, which means the chicanes are not towards the end of the lap, they're at the start of the lap this time. Which is a good thing for me, because it means the AI will be less of a pain in my ass in those corners. And I did not think I was going to gain the lead quite that quickly, but I somehow have. And now, through these tight hairpins that will end off the lap. It's also quite a long lap as well. I think this is the longest of the airport courses, as far as I know. And, I actually got through there quite smoothly, which makes a change. Anyway. And at the moment, I am having trouble around this Gymkhana style course. I'm pretty confident in saying this is definitely the longest of all the airport courses in this game. I couldn't tell you how many there are overall, but I'm pretty sure this one is the longest. I'm pretty sure these circuits do have names, but I can't really be bothered to look those up. But all I really know is they're basically just Bayview Airport courses. That's what I think they really are. Or if they have numbers, then I couldn't tell you what those numbers are. I'm not very good at remembering names very well. I'm good with faces, but I always seem to have trouble remembering names. At least that's what I think, anyway. When it comes to recognizing certain things. When it comes to identifying certain things. By name. And yep, I am really doing everything in my power at the moment to basically kill my chances of winning this race. Because I am just wrecking everywhere at the moment. I'm basically just scraping all kinds of concrete. How did I not lose the lead? I basically did everything in my power to make it look like I was going to lose that race, and yet I somehow didn't. That was basically a case of me choking in almost every corner, and yet somehow managing to hold on to the race lead. I have no idea how I held on. Also, that was a really close race by this game's standards, because less than 6 seconds from 1st to 6th. So these are the points now. Oh, that was the last one. Okay. So 24 points to me, 18 points to Chuck, as we both finished 1st and 2nd in all 3 races. Darren and Wojtek tied for 3rd with 10 points. John was 5th in the 206, and Wayne came home last in the Audi TT, finishing last in all 3 races. But anyway, that doesn't matter now, because I have got the rep and the bank. Now, we have, I think, just one more URL event to do here at the Bayview City Airport, and then once we're done with that, we should have just one URL event to go, and that will be in the Bayview City core. And then after that, well, we basically have just one event remaining in the career mode. I think it's fair to say the Evo 8 is definitely serving me well at this point. So, yeah. Alright. Final airport tournament. And this one comes from Nigel. Win tonight, and sponsors will really start taking notice. You haven't exactly faced the toughest competition, but win this one, and you'll increase your chances of getting invited back. Don't screw it up. Nigel, I do everything in my power to make sure I somehow don't screw up. Even then, if there are times where I basically do everything in my power to make it look like I screw up. Oh yeah, I haven't recorded a replay yet. Well, I may consider changing that once we're done here. So, on the front row once again, this time alongside an Infinity G35, who gets a push from the Lexus. Ironic to say that both Infinity and Lexus are luxury brands to both Nissan and Toyota. Lexus, of course, being Toyota's luxury brand, and Infinity technically being a luxury brand to Nissan. And in spite of me getting wrecked on the start, I do manage to work my way back up as I use the outside wall to great effect, and also making sure that I somehow manage to get back in contention. And it looks like it's going to be 2 races here, because we are doing 4 laps around both of these circuits. And then once we are done here, we should have just 1 tournament remaining. And then once we are done with this, we should have just 2 events remaining. The final URL event. That's not very helpful. I really don't understand what's causing the oversteer. Something has to be doing it, because I just keep getting a snap of oversteer, and basically the car just spins me around. I have no idea what's causing that. I really don't. I'd assume it must be because I'm using too much speed heading into the corner, or because I'm not riding the walls. I'm not able to regain control of the car before it gets loose. I'm going to assume that must be what's doing it, because I've had a lot of trouble with oversteer through this corner. It might be because I'm not using the wall the way I should be. That could be my logical excuse. Anyway. Final lap in race 1. I think we're pretty much done with the 3 race tournaments now, unless the last one winds up being another triple header, but we've done most of them, so all that's left for us to do now is basically to just go out and race. And off the final corner, and there we go. I win! With a time of 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Ryan 2nd, Scott 3rd, Nigel 4th, Matteo comes home 5th, and it's Stefan who comes home 6th. I'm pretty sure this will only be 2 races because we are doing 4 laps around both of these racetracks. So, 1 race to go. Jesus Christ. I really hope I can get this race over and done with soon because I feel pathetic just knowing about how much of a bitch this second race has now become. It's becoming pretty obvious to me now that this race is doing whatever it takes to not be put to bed. I'm gonna need more than just a quilt to put this one to bed. I'm basically gonna need nails to practically pin the quilt to the mattress, and then to make sure that they're nails that this race cannot somehow cut through. Because I feel like that's what this race is doing to me right now. It's doing whatever it goddamn takes for me to not put it to bed. Even though I'm literally doing absolutely everything in my power to make sure this race is put to bed. Fuck you. Nope, nope, nope. Okay. I led the second lap. Come on. Okay. Yeah, you've really got to be accurate with the throttle control to get through the left-hander if you're wanting to get a smooth exit. You've also got to make sure your entry is good as well, because you're basically doing a right-hander then a left-hander. So you know the margin for error is very minuscule. And if you do make an error through that corner, then well, you're basically gone. Luckily this time, however, I have a bit more nitrous to help me put up some speed. And that's what I'm going to use it for. Yeah, I could not see where the concrete was in comparison to where the asphalt was when I had the nitrous on, because I just could not do anything in that instance. Okay, and using nitrous, finally. That race literally did everything in its power for me to not put it to bed, but I'm so glad to say I did manage to put it to bed. So Scott came home 2nd, Nigel was 3rd, Ryan 4th, Matteo 5th, and Stefan came home 6th. I'm not gonna lie, that second race was pretty hard. And I actually had to concentrate on my corner entries and exits to actually get it done. But I did get there eventually. So Scott came home 2nd, Ryan 3rd, Nigel 4th, Matteo 5th, and Stefan came home 6th. And now I'm going to get a replay, since I have not done that yet. And also because I've been recording this now for 54 minutes. I think that took me at least 4 failed attempts to put together a run in this race which did prove to be adequate. I really had to make sure... Oh, that's it. That's literally all it could capture. I am so confused right now. Yeah, again, as I said before, I'm okay with a challenging race, but not to the point of where I'm always gonna be involved in someone else's accident that I literally cannot avoid, or basically being forced into an incident which I ultimately have no chance of preventing, even though I try desperately to avoid an accident before it happens. Still, I really had to focus on timing in terms of where I was going to use the nitrous, but either way, I am glad to say I did get it, because it shows I was very much in it to win it. Okay, I think that's enough. The replay camera is sideways. That's actually not too bad in all honesty. Okay, anyway. So after, I think, 4 failed attempts, I have now managed to clear all but one URL event. And now we just have one left. And as I suspected, it's in the Bayview City Core. Oh well, let's head over there for the final tournament event of this game. I also now have over 100 grand. If you can believe it. I have over 100 fucking grand. And here it is. The final tournament event of the game. And what do you know, it's at Bayview Speedway. However, before we get on with this, I'm going to save the game so I don't lose anything. And I'm also going to stop this part of the recording, so in case if my computer does give me any problems again, I'm prepared for them, and also so I don't lose my video file. So yeah, continuing the URL events, and it is now time for the last URL event. And if I just check through my stats, we've done 23 of 24 so far, and those are all my other stats so far. And we're at 84%, believe it or not. So anyways, this one comes from Tom. You better get to business on this one, because the URL is fastballing at its best. No room for front-end bammers here. You roll out like a flashing, and you ain't ever gonna get a chance here again. Well, considering this is the last one, I'd imagine the chances of me doing this again are quite slim. Okay, let's go. Oh, and no cutscene. Okay. I guess it must be not until after this one that we do get a cutscene. But anyway, I hit the can, so I could basically drop something off. And since I've now done that, let's now get back to this. And oh boy, we're going up against the Wraiths. So we have a Mazda RX-8, an Infiniti G35... Sorry. Yeah, that's an Infiniti G35, a Mitsubishi 3000 GT. I couldn't see what the rest of the field was, but I have no doubt in saying the game will reveal those opponents to me once I am done here. Basically, we're going up against Caleb's group, and then once we've beaten these guys, we'll technically be taking on Caleb straight afterwards. Of course, I do have my video file from the last couple of events I just did, so I know I'm not going to lose anything, and hopefully, if I'm lucky, I can actually manage to go somewhere with this. I hope, anyway. And I now have a 2-second lead over Tom. Marcus is running 3rd, and Ali is running 4th. That is your running moment. That is your running order. Sorry, Al is running 4th. That is your running order after 2 laps, and it looks like that running order is not going to change. And using nitrous, and there we go, easy win. And it took me just 1:30 to get through that first race. And the other 2 opponents we had were a Celica and a TT. So Tom was 2nd, Marcus 3rd, Al came home 4th ahead of Scott, and Nigel was 6th. We're basically going up against the Wraiths. So those are your results after race 1. Now let's go and get the other 2 races over and done with. Yep, I'm pretty sure this is Caleb's group. Ironically, this is basically Caleb's posse. I'm also pretty sure there's a movie that goes by the name of The Wraith, and I have watched it a few times. To most film critics, I'd say the film is okay. It's not great, but personally, I think it's okay. It very much sets a keen to guys like me who like fast cars and heavy rock, and in some cases heavy metal as well, because that's basically what the soundtrack to The Wraith more or less is. Point is, I just like the movie. I think The Wraith is an alright movie. Not one of my favourites, but I'd say it's alright. If you're into the sort of things I am. Like I said before, you know, with fast cars and heavy metal. I very much like that sort of thing. I'm very much a rock sort of guy when it comes to a lot of the lesser heard music. I should also mention I am a die-hard Queen fan. Anyway. I am moving away nicely from the wraiths, and it looks like I am probably not going to lose this one. So something tells me this is pretty much going to be a piece of cake, providing I don't make any critical mistakes at the end of this one. I reckon we should be okay. Because I certainly have the car to do it, and I also have the performance to do it. So hopefully we should be good. And off the final corner, off onto the grass, using the nitrous, and crossing the line at 169, and victory by less than 5 seconds over Al, Marcus, Tom, Scott, and Nigel. So we've got a tie for second, and everyone else is pretty much single file in terms of their finishing results, more or less. Up, time to go and get another clean sweep, since that basically means I will have swept up all of the tournament events in this game. Probably because I didn't do any of these on the hard difficulty, but either way, doesn't matter because I am basically just chipping away at my competition. And providing I don't get wrecked too many times, I should hopefully be there. And just like that, I take over the lead. Now I just have to hope I can hold on to it. Because, yeah. I also got a replay recorded, but if I don't get any good angles from that first replay I recorded, I could always consider recording this race replay. Although, technically speaking, it probably doesn't matter because I already have a replay recorded. And I know that the replay which I recorded basically is going to be the better one at this stage. I mean, I already got a shot of my Mustang around Bayview Speedway, so I don't think it really matters. To be quite honest with you. So, off the final corner, and now we have just one lap to go in the URLs, and then what that means is we should have just one race to go. And then once we are done with that race, we can then basically sweep up whatever events we have left. And how is that the case, you may ask? Well, there is something else in this game that we have to do in order for us to reach 100%. And I will go into greater detail over what that is once we're done with the next race. So, a 5.43 second margin of victory over Tom, Al 3rd, Marcus 4th, Scott was 5th in the Audi TT, and Nigel came home last in the 3000 GT. So there we go. 24 points to me, 15 points to Tom, 13 points to Al, 11 points to Marcus, 6 points to Scott, and 3 points to Nigel. And that is our final tournament event now done. Alright. Nice. Very nice. And that only took me 11 minutes to get through all 3 of those events. Oh, no cutscene. Oh well. However, there is still one more race we need to do. And that race will, as you might have guessed, to those of you who know this game, you will of course know that our last opponent is Caleb. And we need to head down here into Cole Harbour East for the last one. And that now means we've done 189 races. So, if my calculations are correct, we should have a total of 32 remaining races to do once we are done with the career mode. But anyway, those are the stats. There's one race to go. We've basically done everything else we can do, and my average rep score is actually really good. But anyway, there we go. The Stage 5 URL events are now done, and next time we will be taking on Caleb, coming in the next episode of Underground 2.
No one can rise up, I need speed. When I'm racing that strip, I got the button, the chip, your car like something to strip. Throw up the key, the hoopty whip to the squatters, whoever putting up dollars, holler, we see them car hotter.